So, everybody's screaming that Drake fell off. The triple album is trash. He's doing too much. And I'm sitting here like, y'all are not really looking at what's happened. Let me say this up front so there's no confusion, all right? I've been a Drake fan for a long time, but I'm a bigger Kendrick Lamar fan, okay? I think Kendrick is the better overall artist. I'm standing on that. But I'm also not going to pretend that Drake isn't one of the biggest, most impactful artists to ever touch a microphone, all right? Let's get that straight. So this is not a stand video. This is me as a Kendrick fan and an artist myself breaking down why Drake's moves right now are way smarter than people are giving him credit for. All right. So listen, this is my stance on Drake versus Kendrick. All right. Let me get the bias out of the way. Kendrick to me is the better artist. Yes. The writing, the concepts, the way he constructs an album, the artistic risk, he's on a different tier. All right. When that battle was active, I was absolutely rooting for Kendrick Lamar. And when I heard Kendrick's responses, I felt like, yeah, Drake doesn't have anything for this guy at this level. As much as I respect Drake, I can admit that Kendrick's energy, the precision, the way he layered his shots, I haven't seen anything like that in years. But here's the thing. None of that erases what Drake actually is. Drake is still one of the biggest artists to ever grab a mic. Period. The number of hits, the way he shifted the sound when he came in on a track, the fact that he passed people like Jay-Z and Ludacris in certain metrics, you can't just hand wave that away because you don't like the new rollout, right? So as a songwriter and a hit maker, his resume is insane. We're not talking about mid-tier rapper trying to create something cute. We're talking about a man who's been at the top for like a decade and still able to make the whole internet stop and talk. Let's get that clear. So the battle and why I still respect Drake's side. During the battle, I was rooting for Kendrick, but I'd be lying if I said Drake's responses were weak. The 50 push-up joint, that was creative. The record where he used AI with Tupac, setting aside the ethics for a second, the idea was wild and it was bold. Family Matters, that was a real record. There were actual shots in there, real structure, real intent. I can say Kendrick cooked him in the long run and still say those responses were hot. Both of them can be true. And that's where a lot of people lose nuance. They want it to be either Drake is washed and trashed forever or Kendrick didn't do anything special. Nah, it's not like that. Kendrick dropped nuclear bombs. Drake still fired off some serious missiles. That tension is what made the era so electric. From my side as a creator, it was inspiring just to watch two giants swing like that. It reminded me what's possible when artists actually rap with urgency. So the triple album and the contract move. Now let's talk about this triple album situation. People hear 3 albums at once and immediately go, oh, he's desperate, it's bloated, it's mid. I hear 3 albums at once and my business brain says, this man just hit fast forward on his contract. My personal belief, he dropped 3 distinct projects with 3 separate identities to get out of that massive label deal and step into a whole new era with way more freedom. That's a chess move. Once you understand deals, masters, leverage, a triple drop like that doesn't look random. It looks like, let me fulfill these last obligations in one clean sweep while still keeping the whole culture talking. As an independent artist, an independent-minded artist, I see that I'm like, that's game. That opens doors. If he really steps into a more independent lane after this, the ripple effect for other artists is going to be serious. Labels are going to have to negotiate different. Young artists are gonna have to start thinking different about ownership and output. So the beef as energy, not just drama, right? Yeah, then there's the beef itself. Hip hop needed that beef. The Drake versus Kendrick chapter woke people up. Reaction channels were going crazy. Group chats were on fire. Producers, engineers, writers, everybody was tuned in, breaking down bars, catching references. It brought back that whole battle energy we say we miss from the 90s, the 2000s, but in the 2020 era way. Was there messy stuff? Sure. Lines crossed? Definitely. But from a pure rap and energy standpoint, it reactivated the culture. You can feel that even now. People are hungry for more sharp rapping, more competitiveness, more I actually care what's on the record. And for Drake specifically, as much as people want to say he lost, look at what it's done. It forced him to rap with a chip again. It forced him to be creative without rollouts. It kept him from going fully soft and comfortable. That's valuable for an artist who's been rich and successful for as long as he has. So here's the character critique and where I don't rock with Drake. Now let me be honest about the part I don't like. Artistically, I think Drake is fire. Strategically, this contract album run is genius. But character-wise, there's some stuff I can't co-sign. He has a habit of switching personas. One minute he's the Toronto kid, the lover boy. Next minute he's trying to project this gangster energy. And my issue is, you're not a gangster. That energy doesn't line up with your actual life story. I get that hip hop has always had performance and exaggeration. I get that powerful people pulling strings can be more gangster in a quiet, corporate way than someone on a block. If we talk big picture money, influence, infrastructure, yeah, there's a real conversation about who the real mob is behind the scenes, right? But as a character in the music, when he leans too hard into that tough guy lane, it rings off to me as off key. It's not necessary. His pen, his melodies, his catalog, his business moves, they're already legendary. He doesn't need to cosplay. And here's why I still think this era is fire. So where does this leave me? I still think Kendrick is the better overall artist. I still think Drake lost pieces of that battle. I still think some of his persona choices are pretty corny. And I still think the songs I've heard off of these new projects are fire. The structural choices, concept ideas, little layers that reactors are catching show he's not mailing this in. The triple drop timed the way it has is one of the smartest business moves I've ever seen. From a mainstream artist in a hot minute. From where I'm standing as a detailer, an independent artist, and a man trying to build my own empire, I can't help but to be inspired by the way he's stacking his artistry, the controversy, and the contracts into one play. You can hate the man, you can hate the rollout, you can be on Team Kendrick for life. That's me. And still admit this run is anything but mid. So yeah, that's my take from a Kendrick fan who still gives Drake his respect. If you actually sat with the lyrics and the strategy, not just the hot takes, let me know what you're hearing. Is this triple album era trash to you? Or do you see some of the same chess I'm seeing? I'm the rapping detailer. I clean cars, I write bars, and overthink hip-hop while I'm in traffic. Hit the follow button if you want more breakdowns from someone in the trenches, not just a dude in the reaction chair. And just remember that being prepared eliminates fear, and being aware makes everything clear. It's the rapping detailer, and I'm out of here. Peace.